Hey everybody, welcome back. You may have remembered when I reviewed the first nCamp stove. Well, this is their second generation one. This one will burn wood or gas. This is the new nCamp Stove Plus. All right, everybody, welcome back. So you guys might remember, I don't know if it was last year or the beginning of last year sometime, or this year. I'm really not sure because I reviewed so many darn things. You may have remembered when I reviewed this earlier version of the nCamp stove, this one here. And it sets up similar to that one. And it was the one that burns wood, alcohol stoves, Esbit cubes, whatever you want to do in it. But it was always kind of missing that one thing, which is isobutane or propane. So I really enjoyed that stove. I like the form factor. I like the stable cooking surface, and that is reproduced here too as well. I do like the fact that it's a little bit off the ground, so you got a little room there. But I was kind of bummed that it didn't have a way to set up any kind of propane or isobutane burning system in it. So I really liked using that old stove, and I find nCamp has a lot of neat, innovative products for the outdoors, and they make it a much more enjoyable experience, to be honest with you. It's a lot easier cooking with a big, stable surface like this than a little tiny stove and a little isobutane canister, everything kind of balancing there. So it's just a little more enjoyable and a little easier to use. So how does this impact us preppers and survival people and stuff like that? Well, first you have more options when you're cooking. Not only can you use biofuels or your alcohol stove if you can fit it in there. I have a smaller one that fits in there perfectly. But you can also use propane or isobutane, and the adapter here weighs next to nothing to carry. So it's a fairly inexpensive, easy way to do it. And if you set up in an area where you aren't allowed open flame part of the year, like out here sometimes, one of these comes in handy. If you get evacuated from your house, storm, flood, whatever, and it happens to be in the middle of summer, and you want to go set up something to eat, it's a lot easier to have options than, oh, you can't burn wood, sorry, your one stove is no good, you have no way to cook. So it does give you more options, and you know, when you're prepping and when you're looking towards emergency preparedness, that kind of stuff is really, really important. The more options you have, the better off you're going to be. So this is a compact little stove designed to burn wood, isobutane with the adapter, liquid or solid fuel. You can use a little Esbit cubes if you want. It packs flat, but it has a nice stable footprint when in use. The top surface provides a place to set utensils. It's made of aluminum and stainless steel. The stove height when folded is 1.5 inches or 3.8 centimeters. Unfolded is 6.3 inches or 16 centimeters when in use. The length, 6.5 inches or 16 centimeters. And the width is 9 inches or 22.9 centimeters. The weight is 32.4 ounces. Now that may seem a little heavy, but remember, you're opening up a ton of more options with this as opposed to your one little isobutane container. When your butane runs out, if you're in an emergency situation, when your butane stove runs out and all you have is that one little screw-on propane isobutane burner, you can't burn wood with that. It's not an easy way to stuff wood into the little legs there and start a fire. So with this you can, and that gives you more options. And like we said before, the options are good. One of the things I have noticed that they did improve with this is these are higher, these little offsets. If you notice here, these were a little bit low. And I'll show you the difference here on camera. You can kind of see it. These little offsets were kind of low, so when you put a pot or something on the top of this, it kind of snuffed the fire. It made a lot of smoke until the fire caught back up again. I never had a fire go out with it. It just was kind of smoky and annoying at times. They were a little bit low, and you remember I built an adapter that I made out of some strap material to sit on top of there. But with this, that problem's all been solved because these are a little bit higher, and we are going to test it out and see how it works. I'm not going to be burning wood in this today. We're going to be testing out the isobutane burner, and I'm going to show you how to put it in real quick. If you notice on the bottom of this stove, there's a little circle there. You can push that little thing aside there, and you have a hole. So what you're going to do with this kind of setup here is you're going to take this end. This will come screwed together. This unscrews. You're going to take this end, and I want to make sure I'm doing it the right way. Yeah, I want to put it back. So you're going to put that up through the hole, like that. You're going to take this and screw that on there, if I can get my hands to cooperate this morning. There we go. Alright. Just be careful when you're threading it on, whenever you're threading anything on. You don't want to cross thread stuff. Now I'm going to put that on there nice and tight. There we go. Make sure it's not wobbling around. And there you are. Your burner is on the bottom, and you can keep it that low. This burner is very, very strong. You'll get a whole turbo little bit of flame coming out of here. It's kind of like a mini forge when it lights up. So that's perfectly fine. Now to light it, again, you can pick it up, click your lighter, let it drop. No big deal. The reason I put this back here is because I want to keep my isobutane canister back away from the fire. It's not anywhere near danger or anything. I just want to keep it as far away as possible, just for my own safety. So I'm going to take this outside. We're going to test it out. We're also going to use the espresso style nCamp cafe to make some coffee. I'm going to make a full breakfast on it and see how well it works. So let's get outside and try that out. So I got the stove all set up out here. I got my isobutane canister, and it is a nice long enough hose they give you, so you can kind of put this on and have a little bit of room to work with. All right, I am going to pull it to the side here so that I can regulate my gas. And again, I'm not really concerned about it catching fire or anything like that. I just want to be a little careful when lighting it up. There we go. So that seems to work very well. Now it's very sunny out here, so of course you can't see the flame. But seriously, that's like a mini forge going off in there. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit, and I'm going to add some water. This is the nCamp cafe that they have. It has a little cup on top here. We're going to make the coffee first, just because that's what I can enjoy while I'm cooking my food. This is the actual unit the coffee will make in up top here. And I already put some in there for time's sake. I'm going to pull that out and put some water in. If I can get it in there without getting the coffee all over my hands. There we go. This is another nice thing about this. I'm not putting this anywhere near heat. I can set that here for a second and get my coffee ready. Alright, get my water set up. There we go. So that's nice to have that little bit of a surface area there to work on, even though you're nowhere near the flame. So, I can feel the heat coming off that already. I put in a little too much. You want to fill it up to right under the little pressure release valve there. You're going to drop your coffee in there. Clean that off. Screw on the top. And I find that these little handles that fold out work very well in insulating it. I do have a container with me. And oh yeah, those offsets there work much, much better. They're way, way up. So I'm going to turn that up. We're going to make some coffee. And I'm going to get my Spam, eggs, and hash browns ready to cook. And I'll bring you back once that's done. Show you how it works. And we'll go from there. So while I was waiting for the coffee to get ready, I took my knife, I chopped up my Spam, but I used the, this was something I found. I'll link his channel down below. I forget the gentleman who did it. He opened up his Spam, took it out, and used the wrapper to kind of oil the bottom of his pan, because I'm going to put hash browns in there, and I don't want them to stick. Now, it is titanium. They probably will stick a little bit, but that will help it out a little bit. So I just rubbed the container in there for a little bit of lubricant on it, and I got my Spam all chopped up. So after this is done, we'll start with the hash browns. This will take a few more minutes to get going, but I can definitely feel the heat coming off that. So it's definitely putting out a nice heat and working pretty well. I'll bring you back once the coffee's brewing. All right, it's probably been about 4 minutes. I'm starting to get coffee sputtering out from in there. I'll move you in so you can actually see it. So the stove works pretty well. It's pretty quick. Nice big burner head. I like that on it. You know, it's not one of those little tiny little burners. It fills up that whole thing pretty well. So we're going to let that finish. And I'll bring you back when I'm putting on the hash browns. We'll turn it down a little bit for the hash browns so we don't Chernobylize them. But we'll definitely get them going. All right, I got to go nice and low there. I'll pour the coffee so you can see it. There you go. Nice decent cup of coffee there. And that will keep me in coffee while I'm making hash browns. So let's fire up the hash browns. Just dump them right in there. Got that pan going nice and quick. And those are just those freeze-dried hash browns you add water to. Nothing in here is super special or fancy or anything. I'm going to put a little garlic salt. If you've ever seen these are my little containers that I have. These little Tic Tac containers. A little salt and pepper. And I just mix the salt and pepper together in the same shaker. And a little onion powder. You got to be careful with the finer powders because you'll get a big mess if you don't pour them slowly. And it's all ready. Heating them up good. So I'll bring you back when this is done, and we'll do the Spam and the eggs. Alright, they're looking pretty good. I think next time I'll use a little butter, because that Spam didn't seem to coat it enough. It's okay, it didn't do any damage to it, but nothing a little scrubbing can't take care of later. But we'll get all that out of there as best we can. But as you can tell, yeah, I think it needed a little more, maybe some oil. Maybe bring some olive oil with me next time, because it kind of made a mess of the pan. But, you know, again, that's no big deal. That can be easily taken care of. I mean, it's titanium, so you can scrape the heck out of it. Not going anywhere. All right, and also I'm going to put some Spam in here too, so once I put that in there, it'll probably soak up a lot of that. So let's dump that in there. There we go. Then after this cooks, once I brown this stuff up a little bit, because I kind of like it crispy, I'll dump my eggs in and show you what we got for a breakfast made on this new nCamp stove. All right, I'd say we're ready for putting some eggs in there. Move this to the side here. I'm just going to dump the eggs in with the Spam, but I'm going to put it to the side a little bit. And I got some eggs I scrambled up earlier. These are just regular eggs, not freeze-dried. Didn't feel like opening a whole can of Thrive eggs for a quick little breakfast. And there you go. So we're going to scramble these up. This is working a lot better now that the pan is hot. And the Spam kind of lubricated it a bit. So yeah, next time I'll bring out a little olive oil to lubricate the pan. But yeah, the stove was working pretty darn good. I'm really appreciating it. It's nice to have that and not have to keep feeding a wood fire. And if you're in burn season or fire season and you can't use a wood fire, you've got that option there, which is pretty darn cool. Yeah, it's interesting that the more burned it gets, the better it works for non-stick on the bottom. Anyway, I'll bring you back when this is all done and give you my final thoughts on the stove. All right, shut it off. There you go. I'm going to dump this in our dish here and give it a try. Yeah, not too bad. That'll clean up easy. But the nice part about this is there's absolutely no cleanup. I mean, maybe I'd wipe it off with a rag and fold it up, and you're ready to go. So if water's in limited resources, you can definitely use this and not have to worry about cleaning it up like you would after a wood fire, where you'd want to wipe off all the soot. So let's take a look at this. Yeah. That is a heck of a good breakfast. Can't beat it. Anyway, that is the nCamp wood stove. This is the nCamp Stove Plus. It has the propane adapter, and I'm really liking it so far. So I'm going to pick up my mess a little bit here and finish eating breakfast, and I'll let you know my final thoughts on it after that. So what are my final thoughts? Well, I really, really like it. I like the fact that you have the isobutane, because I like the steady surface of it and the way it's set up and all that, but my only problem was I couldn't ever use butane gas with it. So definitely like that factor. This will probably be going in my get home bag / hotel stay bag. You know, I have a bag where I may want to cook in my room or make coffee, whatever, in the morning, and something like this, that's awesome. You know, I mean, it's nice and easy to fold up and pack, and I'm not really concerned about weight, because that's a bag, small backpack that's going to just go with me from the car to the room and then back to the car. It's never going to be, you know, lugged on my back for long periods of time, and even if it was, this isn't too bad. It's a little under 2 pounds. So definitely pleased with it. This guy here, I always like this guy, the nCamp Cafe. That's really, really a neat system. It does cool off quickly too, which is nice. You know, it's only been about 10 minutes since I brewed that. And those run about, what are they, $39, I believe? And this whole system here, with the stove and the burner and everything, is $79. I will put a link down below where you can pick up the whole thing. Now, if you have an older Generation 1 version of this stove and you think, I'm screwed, I can't do this, you know, I have to buy a whole new thing, you don't. If you go to nCamp's website and you click on their blog, at the very bottom of the first page, I believe, is directions on how to convert your old stove into one of these. You only pay $25 for the burner, and you get it, and it comes real easy. and you just put it in there. All it really involves, I'm not going to go into it in depth because I have to spend too much time, but all it really involves is just drilling a hole in the bottom of your old stove, and they'll show you how to do it correctly, how to measure it correctly, and you should be good to go. So you can convert your old one, you can get a new one. I personally like the new one because of the higher offsets. That gives me a little bit more room when I put a pan on top here, so I don't have to worry about losing, got stuff flying away over here, I don't have to worry about losing my flame underneath. Although with the old one I never really did. It's still just better to have that there. Anyway folks, I thank you for watching. I will put all the links down below for everything that I use from nCamp in this video, the cafe and the stove and the burner. I will put those links down below, so if you want to check them out you can. They'll be right there. And don't forget to check out our Amazon link as well, and our Olight and Thrive Life links as well. When I get started on freeze-dried food, it's definitely a way to go with Thrive Life. Anyway folks, thanks for watching today. Stay safe and stay prepared.